This is Dr. Michael Katchmar.
We
Welcome
messed that up a couple times.
welcome to Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Katchmar. Today's date is January the 31st, the year of our Lord 2023. And thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it if you guys follow us on YouTube and subscribe and hit that like button if you are watching us. Definitely go over to our Spotify channel. We're on Apple Podcasts, so we do have a great podcast. You can listen to us in the car. We're on Instagram. On the bottom of our screen here, you can see where we're at. If you want to give us an email, which we always love to talk to people, it's drkatchmar@icloud.com. So that's drkatchmar@icloud.com. We have our crew here today, so you want to say hello? We have
What's up, everybody?
Tyler's in a different outfit today. He's kind of...
Katchmar loves talking about our outfits.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what we're wearing.
Oh, you look good. Well, we have a wardrobe. You know, we have a wardrobe.
I like your scarf, Katchmar.
So you like my scarf? It gets the look. So
I'm not crazy about it. I'm gonna be honest.
All right, and then we have
Not a scarf guy.
we have Sean,
Hello.
and so we have Sean put together, I think, a whole really great program today, and
I don't want to take full credit.
no credit. Do we want to go anything over anything else like as far as where? Tell our people anything. We're gonna have T-shirts soon.
No, that's all in the intro. They heard it before.
Good.
Well,
All
actually, they didn't hear it before we went live this time.
Yeah. So
We're gonna have to fix that in post.
So let's go to a whiteboard. We have our whiteboard here. I love our whiteboard. Look at this thing here. So what do we have here,
What do you guys
Sean?
think? Should I keep doing these drawings?
Yeah, I love it. So what do we have here, Sean?
So the top is just me and Tyler just went to New Hampshire. We went on our yearly snow trip. It was fun this year. We got some good weather, as we usually do for some reason. We luck out a lot. We went to Attitash, New Hampshire.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. It's in Bartlett, New Hampshire, but like Sean said, the conditions were pretty good. We're both still kind of learning how to snowboard. I felt like personally I got a lot better at it this weekend. When you snowboard in Jersey, or in Jersey, PA, like New York area, it's nowhere near what you're gonna see at a mountain way up in the Northeast, like Attitash. It's like icy snowboarding around here, but up there you actually get fresh snow, which is pretty awesome, and it makes learning a lot easier. I think
a lot of real snow too.
Yeah, you can
that's the difference.
You can grip the snow way differently than you would. It's almost like you're learning a different sport when you're learning how to do it on pretty much ice around here. We weren't far from Mount Washington, which is actually like the 8th largest or highest peak in the Northeast. That was pretty cool. And just, you kind of like being on a mountain like that, you kind of get why people want to be out there. It's kind of similar to like the awe of the ocean.
It's crazy how many older people are still skiing and snowboarding in any mountain that we've been to.
Oh yeah, I got a buddy of mine right now. He's a retired orthopedic surgeon. He's at the Jackson Hole, and he goes there. I think he's got a condo there, and that place it attracts a lot of people. And that's a great place. I mean, the one ski lift is like it's a mile long. It's actually going up to the top. Ski ride is a mile. It's now, I don't know if you go.
And how long is the lift?
The lift is a mile.
Like how long does it take? Do you know?
Yeah.
Nah, I was on it. I don't remember. It takes a while,
Yeah.
I mean, you get up there, you're way up there. And in the winter, I was there in the summertime, and it was like 80 degrees out, and up there it was snow on the ground. Once you get up there, because I think Jackson Hole is about a mile above sea level to begin with. Now you're about 2 miles above sea level. So
it's probably a little harder to breathe, right?
Oh yeah.
Training at altitude.
Yeah. What was interesting, we went up there. Another night they had a dinner where you have wine tasting and dinner. So they meet you on the bottom. They give you champagne on the way up. So you're in this big gondola, and you're having champagne. And then you get to the top. Remember, we came from sea level, New Jersey, so you're at a mile high already, and then you go up to another mile, and then you do wine testing. I tell you, I was hammered. I hardly anything to drink.
Did
And
you
I
like
was
snowboard or
stoned.
ski down?
No. It was the summertime actually.
Oh, okay.
This was the summer. We went there. Went to went to the Tetons, and then we went to Yellowstone. So
Yeah, it's like Sean said, it's really impressive. I saw some lady that was like at least 60, just
yeah.
ripping a snowboard, probably
Oh, yeah.
faster than me.
Yeah.
So we actually got a chance to chat with the ski patrol on the mountain, which was pretty cool. So if you go to our whiteboard, Catch, you want to switch the video over to that, you'll see on the left side, there's a ski lift, and I drew a little ski patrol shack at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the day, I mustered up the courage to walk in there and like introduce myself. And it was pretty funny because I walked in and I was like kind of nervous because I know what it's like to have some random beachgoer just come up to you and start trying to like be like, oh yeah, like I do something similar to this,
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you're shaking your head a little bit. So I walk in there and I'm like, hey guys, I want to introduce myself. I'm a lifeguard, on the Jersey Shore, and I've been kind of watching you guys today, and I see a lot of similarities between what we do. And they were looking at me like kind of skeptical, and I think they could tell I was a little nervous because I was in there to ask them to come on the podcast, So I'm chatting with them a little bit, and they're like looking at me kind of crazy. I said, we do this podcast about lifeguarding, and maybe you guys would want to come on. And then I could tell that they were kind of skeptical. So I made like a comparison. I said, because I had been out on the run, just the run before with a couple of the guys that are lifeguards, but also really, really experienced in snowboarding. And I was sliding like all over the mountain, losing my balance. I kept catching my edge and tumbling over, and they pulled me over. They're like, dude, you got to learn to read the snow the way you read the water. And the second they said that, I understood something new about snowboarding. So I tell that story to the guys in the whatever you want to call it, the ski patrol
headquarters.
And the whole energy in the room felt like it switched. They were like, oh, you do kind of get what we're doing. So I left my email and my name, and then I walked out without getting their email. So then Sean and I walked into the one on the other side, if you want to go back.
Which is like when talking to girls on the beach, that's like the first thing that we learn is that you get the number, you don't give it out.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, went down, I was like, damn, I should have got their number, I should have got their email. And we're about to go down one of our last runs, and I'm just sitting there like kind of brooding, like staring at the guard shack, and I was like, we're gonna go back in there and get contact information. So we went in and we had a nice chat with the guys over there. They were super cool, super nice. But you walk in to this, basically like a beach patrol headquarters on the top of a mountain.
Yeah.
And instead of our view where we're staring out and we see Casino Pier and, the beautiful ocean, which I know personally I've taken for granted, you just get this most incredible view of the mountains. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable. Just this giant window behind their break couch. They got their feet kicked up. They're, drinking coffee, and then they have this behind them. So it was pretty awesome. And then, a couple of them followed us on Instagram. Like I said, we chatted for a little bit, and, we're going to reach out and try to get them on the show. I think it could be just so everyone knows we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Catchmar just checked.
We're checking, yeah.
Yeah, they were really awesome, and I definitely want to have a chat with them and explore.
We're gonna try and get them on.
Let me ask you, with their headquarters, what they'll do is they'll get somebody who injured themselves. Like, do they have like a sled? Like they don't have like a.
They have a ski, but I didn't see the ski when we were there.
Oh, they do have a ski.
Sleds.
A snowmobile, you mean?
Yeah, they have sleds that they pull. I was actually just talking. I wonder if on real mountains. I was talking while we were on the lift. I wonder if on real mountains they let snowboard ski patrol exist, because I don't know how they would pull the sleds with the going sideways and having to, like, some of the carving that goes into like snowboarding over skiing. But
What do you mean by real mountains?
like Hunter, I didn't see a snowboarder there, but in New Hampshire, but in Hunter and Jack Frost, there are snowboarders. Ski
Oh, I get
patrollers,
what you're saying.
which
Well,
are
I'm just asking how they rescue. Like, in other words, if someone, I could see an avalanche, but I would think that most of the time somebody falls down, break their arm, hits a tree, whatever. How do they get them? They got to. How do they transport them?
well, I don't know.
I know they have like a sled.
Eventually, hopefully, we'll talk to them. But they have the sled, and obviously they're on top of the mountain because you can only go down when you're on the mountain. And they probably just ski down to the person, assess the area.
Imagine someone coming up to you on the lifeguard stand and just standing there for 20 minutes and being like, "Oh, how do you guys make a rescue? What do you guys do with this backwood? Do you ever use this? We didn't want to be those guys, Yeah. So it was a brief conversation.
Right. I watched a documentary once. They had these guys, and they would go out in the morning and evaluate whether or not there's an avalanche risk, and then they would shoot guns at the mountain or shoot little
Dynamite.
like grenades, and blow it up, start an avalanche so it wouldn't happen when somebody was skiing. And I think also when somebody gets injured, what I kind of remember is they actually had like a sled that they'll ski,
Yep.
and behind them they'll have you on like a little like the Indians kind of do, like they used to have, and pull you down.
There was a couple times while we were up there that I saw them deploy that. I don't know if it was like a training run or I really want to find out, how do you guys train? What's the
Well, I
have
think
you
a
hung off a
snowmobile
cliff to help someone?
I mean, think about it. I would think that best way to get in and out and get there fast is either with a jet ski, a snowmobile. It's our jet ski.
PWC,
Yeah.
a PPC, a personal powder craft,
Or or even something like what do you call it? A helicopter. I know they have some of those places they're remote, so you might have to do a helicopter rescue.
Mm-hmm.
So they do it. They do it. We talk about it. So there is.
I just uploaded a couple videos to our drive. Let's see.
So what's
here? So this.
We just want to check out some of the videos from the trip.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Show them. So for our Spotify,
So this is the.
you gotta come and watch this. It's beautiful.
This is a little lift, yeah.
Yeah, this is just a lift that we went down. This one took forever, absolutely forever. And then here's the ski patrol
HQ.
HQ. This was HQ North, I think. Pretty cool, right? So I walked right in here through this door. It says guest welcome, so I felt like that was okay. Another interesting thing about these mountains, so a lot of us ride on what's called an Epic Pass, and it's basically an all-access season pass to a bunch of mountains that are under this Vail umbrella, this Vail Resort umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And you get discounts on food and, ride as much as you want at any of these mountains. But a lot of locals really hate it because it makes lift lines really, really long. And also another thing that I heard people talking about was the fact that this Vail Resort will come in, buy the mountain, replace all the staff that had been working there for years, and then not even really make any upgrades to the mountain itself. So like one of the main complaints about Attitash is that Vail bought the mountain and they haven't really done anything to improve it. They haven't improved like this. It's called the Summit Triple, the lift we were riding in that video. It is so painfully slow. It's like a 10 or 15 minute ride to the summit, which is at 2,900 feet. So yeah, that was just like an interesting thing to kind of observe, like people's attitudes towards this Epic Pass and how they're trying to, I guess in a way, like commercialize some of these mountains. Attitash Bartlett isn't a big resort town like somewhere like Stowe or somewhere like Jackson Hole or Breckenridge. It's not like that at all. It's a small town mountain.
Yeah. Well, Tetons are unbelievable. You know, I know the guys that we're talking about. They go out there and they get helicopters to drive them. They pay for the helicopter to take them to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I've seen videos like that.
Yeah, and then they get dropped off and they go down. Yeah, they're that good.
Those dudes are crazy.
Yeah. They love that stuff.
I think I'm past the point where I want to pursue that. I'm cool with just cruising down the mountain on a blue, sliding back and forth, not hurting myself. I hit a couple jumps this weekend though.
We went to a place up in North Jersey somewhere, but it's all sleds. You know, you get on sleds, and it was a lot of fun. You know, and people were having just a great blast. And you really go fast. It's you know, you can do it on a tire tube or whatever. It's one of those things. It was pretty good.
I did that last year, tubing.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. So, well, you're gonna have to try. We have to reach out to these guys because, you know, it looks like the ski patrol are very similar to our lifeguard patrol.
Yeah,
and they're saving people's lives. And we should probably try to get maybe if you could reach out to them in the future, we could do a Zoom call. We could get them on.
That's the plan.
And we could talk to them. I'd really like to, see what they're doing. I have no idea.
Hopefully you can use your supervisor pool at the beach to get them on for free if they decide to come down to the Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Well, they could take their skis and go. You know, we'll pull them with the dinghy. I'll take my our inflatable out, and
we'll pull them on a Van Dyne.
We'll pull. Yeah. So that's good. You want to go to your next topic now, or?
Yeah.
So let's
we
go
can
over
move
here.
on.
So over here, you have down the bottom here, it says whales being killed on the Jersey Shore. We don't know. We know that for sure they're being killed?
We don't know 100%.
So why don't you take it? Why don't you take this, Sean? So what's the deal? What do you mean by the whales dying? So here you have whales dying on the Jersey Shore.
So there was.
They're not being murdered.
No, there's a new plan, a part of like the green
Green New Deal.
Yeah, the Green New Deal with to start implementing new eco-friendly energies in the environment.
Yeah, I follow. What's her name? Thunberg. You know?
Yeah, she's all about it.
She's.
Are you a fan?
I never see her smile. You know, she's so like.
That's
really,
what you're worried about?
She's so.
Yeah, well, that's her whole shtick. Is like she's
so
depressed
rowdy,
because
man.
of the climate.
Yeah, I know. She's like.
You expect her to smile? You expect her to break character and smile?
I tell you, I don't want to digress, but when the last election, Trump, was running against Biden, and there was a doctor, so doctors in the lounge, and I just go in there and get coffee. I try to mind my own business, and there's guys fighting over. If CNN was on, another doctor would come in and put Fox on. Then another doctor would come in and put CNN. So they're fighting over that, right? So I'm just sitting in the back. You know how I am. I'm watching, and I'm just making some coffee. And the guy goes, "What do you think about that?" I says, I don't care one way or the other. I just finished operating. I got to go back and get another case. And he goes, "Well, don't you believe in climate change?" He goes, starts busting my ass like that. And this is a really, sharp doctor. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, "Don't you realize we'll be dead in 10 years?" That was now. Yeah, he said, "We're all going to be dead in 10 years." That was the rhetoric.
That's
then,
alarmist. When was this?
So that was just when Trump, so 2020, so 2 years ago. So I guess we have like 8 years. So I said, well, I don't know about if we're going to be dead, but I said, I think that's a little bit, but I said climate change is definitely changing,
I don't know, we might be dead if we keep killing
but,
whales at the rate we've been.
But I said to him, I said, I'm just a common sense guy. I said, I think most of your pollution is coming from and is going to continue to come from China and India. And those people, they're not that they're bad people, but when you live day to day and don't even have a decent meal, and you want your children to, do well, you're gonna burn coal. You're gonna do whatever you got to do to live. So I don't know. I think the answer is, and I said this on my one show, is if you really want to do something real quick, is you got to go to nuclear. You got to go to nuclear energy right now, and take the risk with the with the radiation. But you could really cut things down. But anyway, but this she seems to be very. There's an agenda there, but anyway. So you got the Green New Deal.
Yeah, so they're building wind turbines.
That's what we want to talk about.
They're building wind turbines
Yeah.
in off New Jersey coast. It's like the first state to start really implementing these wind turbine farms.
Do they have any of them out there yet, Sean?
Yeah, there's now being built in front of Atlantic City area. Which,
How many, Sean?
so there's 5 farms, and each farm is going to have about 100, like ranging from like 80 to like 150 fans, wind turbines, and they will be from like South Jersey all the way to North Jersey, about 50 miles off coast, and you will be able to see them. But they're going to be like ants from the beach. So like you will be able to see them.
So I know you did some research. So what?
Is the
How
impact?
many? So 50 miles out. How deep is the water? What are you looking at about that?
Ooh, I didn't look into that. I looked into the, more about the cause of the main topic is the whales.
Nothing the Google machine can't
There you
fix.
go.
Well, I would say I'd have to guess. I'd say
50
about.
miles?
I would say the
50
water.
miles off coast.
I say the water's about 100 foot.
And you're telling me the Earth's not flat. If you can see them 50 miles off the coast.
Well, how tall are they? That's the
They're
key.
huge. No, they're like, if we
Yeah.
get to it, I'll show you.
Yeah. So I used to go out to the. So how high are they and what deep water? So, and I'll give you my 2 cents about.
So
So go
So the
ahead.
continental shelf is about 160 meters deep.
that's a science.
No, but that's you don't want that's the shelf. It goes down quick. You're 50
No, I thought
foot
we
off.
have- how many miles do we have until the shelf?
You got about 200. But
Yeah.
You have cracks that come in. It's called a canyon, and you hit that at 100. So in other words,
And obviously they're not building these in those cracks.
no. So at 50 miles out, you're not there. You're like the usually go to the canyon, Hudson Canyon. It's about 100 miles. So you're not even there. I would venture to say 50 miles out, you're probably in 100 and maybe
Got a great
50.
little chart
I'd say
here.
about 100, 150 foot of water. I have because I've been out there. I guess that. And the windmills they must be huge. So
Yeah.
go ahead. So they're building them now, right now as we
So
speak.
they're building them right now. They should have started. Engineering should have started on September 2022, and actual construction is going to start taking place in 2023. But the main thing that's happening, people believe, which is interacting with these whales, is sonar technology that is interfering with the way the whales hear.
What's sonar technology mean? Because they were building them out there, we're using
They're
sonar.
scanning. We can watch a video on it if you want.
So what range does this sonar? Sorry, can you guys hear me? What range does this sonar?
So it is
Existing.
it is a company, and I couldn't find what sonar
Sneak
they're
in.
using. There's a bunch of sonars.
Okay.
But the New Jersey is predicted to generate 7.5 gigawatts of electricity off of all 5 of these farms that we're going to have, which is 1 gigawatt can power 750,000 homes. And NJ home, so that's with NJ, that'd be 552,000, 5 million homes it could power about.
What
So-
percentage is that of like homes in New Jersey?
I don't know.
Roughly. How many people live in
So
Jersey?
yeah,
But the whales are dying at an alarming rate. Usually in New Jersey, we might get 1 whale a year that washes up on shore. And today, actually, there was an 8th whale that washed up. So now there's been 8 whales since September that have died. That is an alarming amount that is a lot of whales.
So do we think it has to do with the sonar or the actual? 'Cause this is
structure.
just
Sonar,
since they started
for sure.
surveying.
Sonar for sure.
So they haven't started any construction. Or you said they did in Ocean City?
Yeah,
Okay. And they already have them off AC, I think.
they do.
Well, they had. So let me ask you this, Sean. Before you go, let's just. I want to ask you a couple things about the So they're gonna have. How many you say now? 1,000 altogether.
There's going to be 5 farms that range about 100 wind turbines.
Okay, so let's just look at just because I have no idea that but just think about it. You're gonna have these structures out there. Number one, they're 50 miles out, which means there's gonna be 50 miles of wire, cables, whatever on the floor that they're gonna have to put out to bring the stuff to the grid. All right,
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, and that's a lot of money. And you got to also have these structures. They probably cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to build. And 50 miles out, you're going to have some big waves out there, And then if you got to go maintain them or go out there, you need to go in a boat or some kind of ship, And
You take the sea bob.
You see Bob. And the other thing is that you need to have the wind. Now, I know with these big turbines, the big ones, which there probably are, a 10 knot, 12 knot wind ain't going to do it. They don't start cranking until the wind is substantial, which means they're not going to be going all the time. So when they do put out, it may give 30% of the electricity at one moment, or maybe hours for the state of New Jersey, but really how long? And you can't store it.
So that is what the environmentalists are upset about, that they don't think it's worth it and the death.
But you hold that thought. Just one point though. I and this is what I had. I've always had this thing about windmills. I've seen them down in the Caribbean, and they when a storm hits like a hurricane, they all get knocked down. And so this, I have no problems with windmills, but I don't understand the idea of putting them out 50 miles out in the ocean.
Yeah, right. If there's a storm, like something could go wrong.
And that's a brutal environment. They're going to rust. They're going to rot. They're going to, they're going to get beat up. And there's birds out there that are migrating. There's, fish that are going to, get upset. And then you got to put people's lives in jeopardy. Just going out there if something breaks, so 50 miles to go out 50 miles. I mean, I guess you could fly out there with a helicopter, but I mean, it just sounds to me. And this is what I think about all of this. I think that solar panels are probably not a bad way to go. But this windmill shit, I think somebody's making big money on getting the contracts. It's going to be just a major maintenance issue.
Well, I mean, just look at all the damage that was caused by the beach replenishment.
Right.
All the fish and ocean animals that were killed during that.
I tell you what I would have done. You guys, I live in a different world. We have Oyster Creek nuclear power plant. It's closed right now.
Is that the one that melt?
They actually melt down.
Never melt down.
They somehow want to hook that up to these wind turbines,
right?
Too.
Because they have the infrastructure for the wires.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: you have new technology now with the. I did study this. That you have the new technology now with nuclear. So the way nuclear energy generally came about is that you cool it with water. So you would have rods, and you would bathe them in water, and you put the rods in, and they would start heating up, and the water would control the whole process, and the water would get heated up, and you make steam, and the steam
would move the
turbines to make electricity. But you make heat, but water cools it and controls it. Okay, and what happens is if you have a problem where the pump stops and there's no water anymore, or you lose the water, the reactor could just keep going. Those rods get hotter and hotter and hotter and go into meltdown, okay? That's what happened with Chernobyl. But they have new technology now. And in fact, the first technology for nuclear reactor was to cool it with liquid metal, like a salt. But it could be, there's all kinds. You could use mercury and stuff like that.
Say mercury.
So what happens with the liquid metal and whatever level you do is that that has to be in there for the reaction to start. So all you got to do, if there was a problem, you open up the plug, the drain, and drain it out, and it stops. So it's a different way. So in other words, if there was a catastrophe, and water would not destroy it. But if you do, you just drain it and it's done. The reaction would stop. And the guy who was working on it was. Who's the guy? Microsoft, Bill Gates. He did a lot of research in this. So you can have these little micro plants, I think, that are pretty safe. So get rid of all of that friggin' shit out in the ocean. Put a plant here, and I guarantee. And here's the thing about the plant: it'll run 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter if the wind's blowing. It doesn't matter if the sun's up. It doesn't matter if it's 10 foot of snow. It's going to generate electricity.
So, Cash, I'm understanding that it's not so much the whales for you; it's the fact that we're wasting time on wind energy, which is fine.
Well, I think the whales is a good issue. No doubt about it.
But I think the whales will get us a lot of views, honestly.
But the whales are bringing it to people's attention. But
the whales will really kill the thumbnail. That's for sure.
My thing is, why are people pushing these windmills when you have other technologies that are easier, simple, less? How many how many people workers going to have to go out there?
Because it looks really good on paper, and the average American isn't going to dig down and really figure out whether they're worth it or not.
Somebody's making
so they
big
just
money.
go along with it. Someone makes big money. Nobody asks questions, and we move on.
Yeah,
a bunch of whales die.
The Ocean City farm that's being built is called Ocean Wind 1, and it's by a Danish company called Ørsted. Just funny anecdote, their name used to be Dong. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Danish.
Oh,
I just read a
Dong.
thing. The Danish are getting some legislation. They're going to bring up their inscription, and they include women.
For
Get
what?
ready for the war in Ukraine.
Oh.
They're going to have the draft. They're looking at. If they bring the draft back, they're going to have women. Just a little aside. I just want to give you a little heads up. Just
He's always going on about us going on tangents. It's like your fourth one of the night.
So anyway, so the whales. Let's get back. So let's finish. Let's go back to the whales. So you believe? What's the theory now? Who's this discussing and saying that?
What's your fan theory, Sean?
What's the theory?
Well, no, there's been studies done on how sonars interact with whales. In 2000, there was a Navy test about submarines. They were trying to see how effective submarines could be, espionage type deal, and they were testing sonar in the Bahamas, I think in the rocks, to see how effective it could be. And there were beaked whales that died, 15 of them, and they did a whole study on what happened, and they found out that the whales. The low frequency sound from the Navy sonar damaged the whales' ears, leading them to beach themselves. The whales suffered inner ear bleeding and brain bleeding, which is a seizure. The whales had seizures from the sonar.
That sounds a lot like what's happening right now.
Yeah.
What kind of whales?
So that was beaked whales, but we have humpback whales that are on the New Jersey coast that are washing up.
Are they migrating now? They're still around? I thought they.
I couldn't find their migration patterns. They do migrate across New Jersey.
So during the summer, they like to stay near the equator, like breeding season, and then they pretty much travel
all the time
anywhere. You might remember this when we were talking about orcas, but they're very they don't travel in big pods normally like other whales. They're either basically alone, or they travel in what are called transient pods, which is what you would remember from when we talked about orcas of like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Actually, interestingly enough, there is one place in the world where they do just stay there year round. Did you come across that or no?
Humpbacks or orcas? Humpbacks.
Humpbacks.
No.
The Arabian Sea. For whatever reason, those whales stay there. Also, another fun fact, they're not called humpbacks because they have a hump on their back. It's because of the shape they make when they go to dive. And they have a really unique, tiny dorsal fin back towards, their tail.
Yeah. Well, I used to, we used to have a formula. You look at, what does it cost to manufacture a windmill and install it, and but I know you talk about the whales and everything, but I just want to make a point though.
This is big.
Is that that's one price? So what you do is you start saying, okay, on this side you have, you have to make the metal, you have to get the equipment, you got to bring the thing out there, you got to maintain it, you got the wires, and it's a rough environment. And then also, what does it do to, once you have it installed, what's it doing? How many whales are going to kill? Once they installed it, maybe it's not going to kill any more whales, or maybe it will. And what about the birds? I hear it's a real problem with the migration of birds. So windmills have a downside.
Also, windmills cause sleeping problems in people, which we don't know why.
Wait,
people that live near them just start, majority of the people in the communities stop being able to sleep. Start having problems, depend on drugs and melatonin.
That sounds like the 5G towers. That's what that theory sounds like. Where'd you find that out? Is that reputable?
I have a bunch of links right next to me, but
if you look, I'll tell you, I always go back to my world, and on a boat, right? I've been with boats that have solar panels and with wind turbines. Okay, both, and the wind turbines probably the size of like a cooler, and the blade is maybe 4 foot in diameter. And then you have solar panels, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and they might be 2 by 4. So I'm just giving you a play. You can make so much more electricity with the solar panel. The turbo is you have it kind of like because a lot of times the sun, if the sun's not out, at least you get something, and a boat doesn't need much. But for the space and what you're getting, it don't produce a lot of power. And those things got to move, man. And do you ever see one up close, the blades?
They're giant.
Yeah, they had two of them in Tortola. So Tortola gets some hammering winds, and there was
They're bigger than like an 18-wheeler.
These things are freaking huge. These
three
things are
times the size.
over 100 foot. I mean, they're huge. And they had two of them on Peter Island, it was called, and they did it for they had a resort there. And of course, they got hurricanes go through there, and every time a hurricane, it knocked one down, it damaged the blades. And it got too much to fix. They couldn't get the parts, and it's not that easy to fix those things. You need big cranes and.
So they're making a port in New Jersey near the Delaware Bay, where I think they're going to do maintenance, which I think is probably how this Ørsted company is really going to
make money
off of this.
Jobs there,
So they're
man.
probably designed to fail.
Thousands and thousands of jobs, like 10,000 jobs they're expecting.
Hey, those are jobs that AI is not going to be taking over anytime soon.
No.
You got to lay the cable and everything.
The bullshit manual labor jobs.
Yeah.
Not that I think manual labor is bullshit. There's a lot of laborers that make a lot more money than me out there.
That thing is going to be subsidized for many, many years before it even turns a profit, if it ever does. And I think it's a waste of time. But the whale thing, nobody knows
Well,
what they're doing autopsies on them.
We're being told that there's no reason to know, or that we don't know why this happens, but there has been issues in the past where we know sonar affects whales, and we're currently sonaring the ocean around New Jersey.
It just seems so obvious. Like, and this we don't know anything. That's like the big win take.
12 mayors in New Jersey have sent a letter to Biden to stop the production, but have not been responded to.
I was just about to ask you, like, is anyone like ringing the bell on this? Like, people are going crazy about this?
Nothing's happening.
Well, it's federal water, so just so you know, 3 miles out is state.
So if it's federal water, why do we have a say in it at all? Well, because the port's going to be
it's going to
in
interact
Jersey
with us.
Yeah,
The
but
power's coming
so
to
what
us.
you have is 200 miles out is the U.S.
How far can you transfer electricity like that?
Oh,
Like,
for as long as
you can make a wire?
Yeah,
The internet goes through the ocean.
Yeah, it's how much power.
But could I hook up an extension cord from here to Great Britain?
Yeah, what you'll have to do
And power a TV.
What you might have is you might have stations like power stations where you key it down.
Like a relay?
No, but you have power lines go 50, 60 miles, 100 miles. That's no big deal. It's high voltage, low amps, so that's why the wires are not that thick. But I don't know what kind of wires they're going to have underground. But yeah, they're going to have to. They're going to have to.
If only we had Kenny in here for this conversation, he could explain everything.
But you do have what do you call it? Technology. But I just think it's not cost prohibitive. I think it's a stupid idea. I think it's going to hurt I think it's just too much. If you want to put them on land, put them on land. But I still think I rather have the money in solar panels. But I don't know if we get enough sun here. And they think the wind's going to blow. Now, I'll give you this, there's been about 5 or 6, I'm trying to remember now, windmills near Borgata in Atlantic City.
Yes.
Been there for 30 years, at least 30 years. And I know they had a lot of issues with the birds getting killed and everything, but they're in the marshland.
How much power do you think? I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. How much power?
I was just going to say, how much power do you think you could generate by mandating every American to run on some sort of treadmill for like an hour a day?
Yeah, that's not a
I
bad
did this
idea.
in science class in middle school.
Did you really?
I hooked up a bike to a car alternator for a science project as just like a way of showing that it's possible to generate electricity by manpower. That was like the extent of my middle school project.
It's interesting.
So you don't remember any of the data you got?
No, it's possible. It's just like
negligible.
No, I don't know why they're not doing it. I guess it's expensive to put new machines in businesses or untested machines.
Listen, there's like in a boat, and I go back to this. You get like a house. You could get lithium batteries, which are pretty good. You could load up your house with a bunch of lithium batteries. You could get solar panel, and you could put a turbine. They make noise, but most of your energy will probably come from the solar panels, and you could save it. And then during the night, if you start running low, you could have a natural gas furnace or generator or natural gas is the way to go. It's not that dirty. Getting back to the other thing though is you could have things in your house that run very efficient. There's air conditioning units now that could run off of DC, because once you store the electricity, it goes from AC to DC. You could get a inverter. It gets really complicated, but it's not just the electricity. You could generate electricity and then reduce the amount of electricity you need by reducing the equipment that you have in the house. But I just think that it's nice, but I think it's just not worth it. I think it's a lot of hassle, a lot of work. And we have a nuclear power plant. We could have fired that thing up. I don't know what's the I really don't know why there's such a resistance still to nuclear energy. If you go look at the data out there, there's so many new technologies. It's so safe.
I think it's turning currently, but there definitely was probably since we dropped the bomb or Cold War, just like the overall fear of nuclear anything.
But I thought your generation follows the science.
Fukushima,
I thought you guys follow the science. I thought you guys were non-emotional.
I just said I think it's changing.
Patternized you?
Categorize me.
Categorize you. Well, I'm just telling you, it's So we don't know the whales are getting killed, why they're getting killed. It is interesting that I've never seen whales.
8 whales in 6 months-ish.
I could tell you what.
So here's an interesting thing I figured out thought about, and that's why I asked you earlier, like, what the range of this sonar is, because the humpback whales, they do have like a rough lower range that they can hear. It's like 40 hertz is not what they hear. What they speak at is 40 hertz is like the lowest they'll really go, whereas the human ear is around 20. However, when mother whales are with calves in feeding areas, I'm assuming sharks, they actually speak in what was referred to as indoor voices, which actually dip lower than that 40 hertz kind of standard. So the reason, because I know one of the big wind takes is that the sonar is not really existing in the range of what the whales communicate in, but I found it really interesting that they do have this capability to basically whisper. So they are hearing lower frequencies.
Well, my question was
lower, higher. I don't know exactly how that works.
My question to Sean is, we know the whales migrate. We see them in the end of the summer, September and October. And I know that when I'm down in Tortola, they're down there, and they migrate south, and and then in the summer they come up and they go north to feed, off of Nova Scotia or even further up, off of wherever, Newfoundland. What I'm getting at is, where are they now? I didn't know they're still out there now. I thought they were out of here, because 50 miles. I mean, if they're getting impacted by all this, it's 50 miles and in. And I thought they migrated out of here already. So is there something else going on? They're lingering.
Ty said earlier they're
staying around.
Smaller pods that just go around the world at all times. Like even if it's not like the big breeding groups, like there are just whales everywhere.
So like we have geese around here. Some migrate and some don't.
And they can communicate at distances up to like 20 miles. So they don't even necessarily have to be like super local to where the surveying is happening.
And I'm speculative to how we even can understand how much whales hear, because we're not whales, and like just because we talk at this level, we hear sounds way lower than this level that we're currently speaking at.
Yeah. Okay. So
and they're just wicked intelligent. Like I don't know if you guys have ever, Key, I'm sure you are familiar with Phil DeMars, the Walrus Whisperer.
Yeah.
He works at this, or used to work at this place called, it was like the Canadian equivalent of SeaWorld.
Yeah.
And he was a walrus trainer. And he got into it because he was passionate about animals and he wanted to be around them all the time. And the longer he was there, he realized how poorly that these animals were being treated, until he quit. And now he's been basically fighting lawsuits, defamation lawsuits, because he outed this place, Marineland. He outed Marineland for what they were doing to these animals. and he posts these videos of this orca. Her name is Kiska, I believe, and she's the last orca at Marineland in a pool like smaller than a block in Seaside Heights, and all of her babies were taken away from her, and she's there alone by herself, nobody to talk to, nobody to interact with. And you know what she does all day? She bangs her head against the wall. These animals are smart and they know they're being tortured, you know? So it doesn't surprise me at all that a whale would be driven to the point of insanity by just this constant dull, thud, you know, in the back of their
But what's your
brain.
point, though?
How smart they are, how
I
they
see.
feel that.
Well, I'm going to put
You know,
my.
you
I'm going
put one alone in a pool and it drives its crazy.
So I'm going to take a character here. I'm what do you call it? Jim Jackson, conservation.
Are you about to advocate for the devil?
And I'm
He's
going
dubbed
to
in
no.
the
Listen,
dome.
I'm going to be, and we're going to be. I'm going to take Thornburg and Al Gore and everybody's. We're going to be dead in 10 years. The whole world, the human population, is going to be dead unless we do this.
Why
stuff.
does the whale matter?
Who gives a shit about a whale? Right?
Because they're an absolutely vital
right
part
now,
of that
of course,
ecosystem.
the same people who are calling for this are sending tanks and escalating the war in Ukraine, where thousands of women and children are being killed right now. And it's on our dime. It's on our taxpayer money, just so you guys know.
Well, this
And
isn't a politics show.
I
So.
know. Well, but it's life, and so we're moving
is
along.
life.
So you have again extreme, hysterical people running and doing things. First of all, we ain't gonna be dead in 15. We'll be dead if we have a nuclear war. We'll be dead. The climate's changing, no doubt about it, and there's no doubt about it that CO2 emissions are going up. This is a political, feel-good, way to deal with it. It's just
You're speaking about the wind
It feels
turbines.
like that.
it's
doesn't
going to
it?
kill whales. You don't need to do it. It's a waste of time. If anything, work on the nuclear stuff. It's clean. You got a plant right here. You got a couple other plants.
Isn't that pretty damn ironic, though, that the policy and the people behind pushing these wind turbines are all of the what you would call left-wing climate champions?
No, there's a lot of activist groups that are against these wind turbines right now.
But
because
at
of
the
this.
base of it, that's what drove the decision to make them, right? Isn't Murphy like
Yeah.
as far as we know, what do you call
You have
progressive governor?
Right. You have people who want the old Star Trek where they want one government, one entity, one global.
But the Star Trek one was good.
Right.
Our
And
president talked about that.
right. And here's the thing, though. They're the ones who are going to make decisions. They're the ones that are going to tell you what to do. And so there's the big thing here is you got to get fossil fuels are the enemy. Any fossil fuels, and that's bullshit. You got to have some. You can't just get rid of them all. But you want to. There are alternatives, and you need to be working on them. I think this whole issue brings up is that there's always. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. Mm-hmm. You cannot do nothing in the world, in life, without causing, some damage. What is it? You can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Is that the analogy? So this is not only going to kill whales, it's going to kill birds, it's going to kill people. It's high maintenance. Ships are going to crash into them. They're going to get knocked down.
That's why I brought up the beach replenishment before. That's like a micro example of what this project's going to turn out to look like. And for basically an entire summer, we were swimming in water that was like stained red with the blood of countless sea animals. It was crazy.
It ground up a lot of them.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it ground up a lot.
That's the type of damage we're going to see, probably like tenfold.
Yeah. But and again, what is it? What's the purpose of it? So we're in a hysterical, crazy time right now. I think for us, if you go look around, how many solar panels in New Jersey? There's a lot. And New Jersey is not the sunniest place. I think solar panels are good. I think nuclear power is where it's at if you really want to go. But to think that the world is going to be that this is even going to make a difference, So one whale, is it worth one whale? Our carbon emissions, I don't know, maybe are 6%. I mean, the people who are polluting big time is South America, and Asia.
Africa, well,
and Africa.
Asian colonizing Africa,
and you got poor people there. You got I don't know, in India, like 100 million people starving. It's not like they don't have dessert; they're starving to death. People in China, same thing. I mean, the only way those governments are going to keep those people together is they're going to have to have cheap fuel. Right now, China, I just read an article, they're 20% more coal burning than last year, and they're going to keep going up and up. They're not going to stop. So what we're doing here is make feel good. Somebody's making money. I think, and I tell you, I hope to God that what shuts it down is the whales. That's great, because then you could go after these tree hugger people, who's telling me we're going to be dead in 10 years. I mean, I'm telling you, I had people yell at me in the hospital, other doctors who were intelligent men and women, like spitting at me, like, shaking. Like I had to like, calm down, dude.
It is crazy how worked up people
Were you
get.
winding them up a little bit?
No, I'm like, I'm like, dude, I said, I don't, he goes, they're like, do you believe in climate change? I go, yeah, I things are
Changing.
My father there's this talk right now that there's too many people on the planet. We got to thin the planet out.
Yeah.
That's crazy talk, man.
Bill Gates has been talking about that for a long time.
Wow. All right. Hey, listen, it's called
That's what.
World War.
That's George Soros, the New World Order.
Listen, it's
If you
called.
want to get weird,
We might have talked about this, but
You want to talk about World War III, man? You guys.
no. You know how like they talk about the emissions from dairy farms, cow farms?
Yeah.
I heard like this made so much sense to me that we used to talk about how there used to be so many buffalo that you couldn't, like, they were basically shoulder to shoulder across the Great Plains.
Millions and millions.
So how is their emissions significantly less at that time than the cow farms that we have right now?
There isn't.
That, right? That, I
For-
mean, like,
for-
I'm
for-
I
asking.
never
I don't
thought.
know.
Is that like an original thought, or is that an argument you've heard?
That's an argument I've heard somewhere.
See,
Very
we have a tendency to look, we're human beings. For us, 100 years is a long time. In a geographic, scheme of things, million years is a long time. We only been on this earth, I don't know, 10,000 years. Human beings.
Maybe
It's-
more.
maybe
it's
more.
been a bit longer than
but,
that.
But the thing is, things are changing. I guarantee you this: no matter what we do, 10, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to have another ice age. There is nothing going to stop
In
it.
10, 20, or 30 years.
Excuse me, 30,000, 10,000, between, say 30,000 years.
And you're saying we're not all going to be dead in 15
No,
years?
In the future.
No.
There'll be an ice age.
There'll be an ice age in, I think, between 30 and 50,000 years. We're in a cycle now.
It's not warming that's scary, apparently.
Well, you can have warming,
cooling.
but we could all be gone. I can tell you and this is why I don't want to drag the show down, but what's really real right now is China is going to take over Taiwan. They're not going to let it go. You got this thing in Ukraine, and that guy Putin's got. He's not.
Isn't China's population like
1.8 billion.
60 to 70% like old people though? They barely have any young people.
They got plenty. Trust me. But here's the thing: Putin has as many or nuclear warheads as we do. I'm telling you right now.
Apparently he's sick.
Doesn't
He's
matter.
dying.
I don't. There's somebody else there. My point
Apparently,
is,
they want us to think he's sick too.
yeah. But here's the thing, Sean. It's the
40
difference.
chest.
The difference between there are people saying, give this out analogy, and you guys have to think about it. You guys should remember Stalingrad and what went on with the Russians and the Germans. Right now, Putin is not Hitler. Hitler didn't have nuclear weapons. It would be hard for one of the things is Germany could never touch the United States unless they got the bomb. Same thing with China. It was Japan. So, but now we could be touched like that. This country could be wiped out with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, but any country.
I know, but here's the thing, though. But we're
capabilities?
fighting now. It's one thing you fight in Afghanistan. It's a proxy war. You're going with the Russians. Or Vietnam was, we were fighting China. Really, we were fighting China and the Soviet Union. But this is where now we're going after the Soviet Union. And if it escalates, if we put boots on the ground, these tanks that they want to get, well, who's going to ride those tanks? It's going to be American soldiers. What about F-15 planes? It's going to be American soldiers. Once you do that, you're looking at World War III. And if China makes a move, it's over. You want to talk about all of the shit we talk about will be gone. And I remember from my generation, I remember the Vietnam War, and it was brutal. I watched it on TV every day. I got a draft card. My uncles fought in World War II and Korea.
One of my high school.
But let me make a point though. The reality is brutal, and I can't believe that people today we should not be in this situation. This is crazy. You're going to have this was Stalingrad. because I'm Russian. Stalingrad surrendered. The Germans in Stalingrad surrendered in 80 years ago, this day or yesterday. You're going to have now, since World War II, German tanks rolling into Russia. I mean, think about that. I mean, if MacArthur and Patton were alive right now, they'd be like, what are you effing doing? So anyway, I just wanted to throw it out. But the whale thing brings up a good point. You know, what are we doing? We're hurt. But it plays
You
into.
brought it back to whales.
It plays into the thing, because you guys on a certain level are like, wait. We want to help. We want technology, but is it worth the risk?
Oh no, I'm so for stopping this wind turbine. Saving
Right.
the whales.
And I agree with you. But I look at it a little bit different too. I'm 30,000 feet up. I want to stop the wind turbines because the whales, but because it's stupid. Because somebody's ripping off making money. It's not effective. It's not efficient, and it puts more people at risk. So, will it create jobs? You could create other jobs. So
you ready to find out how much you know about humpback whales?
I don't know much about
The
it. I know they got a blowhole. I know that.
It's actually
Did you ever watch that movie? There was one with the George
Pinocchio?
Costanzo. George Costanzo. He was shooting golf balls off the beach, and he got
an episode of Seinfeld.
and what happened is a whale beached up, and what happened was George went over there, and it was what happened was the whale had
blowhole.
Have you ever seen
a
whales
golf
explode?
ball in his blowhole. He took it out and he saved the whale. It was like he was a hero.
Have you ever seen whales explode, Catch?
No, but I know they used them for oil.
They did actually. So even
whales were used for oil.
a little town in Cape May called Town Bank takes 6 to 7 whales a day from the ocean.
When?
Penn, no, back in the day, like 1800s, 1700s.
Well, remember, guys, all your oil for your lamps, there was no gasoline, there was no diesel fuel, there was no oil, so all your oil came from whales.
Their blubber's like that
They
thick.
would burn it down and it would make an oil, and that oil fueled all of your streetlights in Europe and United States.
You know they eat 3,000 pounds a day of krill, small fish.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, but blue whales, they're like the filter feeders. So they don't have there's toothed whales and dolphins, and then there's the filter feeders. So they have like these plates of basically hair,
Right.
that filter
it's like a filter,
the krill through, and then their blowholes, the water goes out, and they swallow whatever in their mouth.
There's great books written and movies made about not only the whales being harvested, but the boats and the men that were involved in it.
Well,
And they
I
had
just
these
started reading
beautiful-
Moby Dick.
These beautiful sailboats, and they would go out, and they would go out for a year, and they would go all around the world. And Moby Dick was chasing the big whale, and they had guys on these little boats. I mean, it was an amazing thing, and but once the oil was found in Pennsylvania, that was pretty much the death knell.
Yeah, William Penn had a Jersey Shore house, and he would come down and hunt whales.
Oh yeah, well, hunt whale, and people eat them. They got good meat.
I mean, it was, it was a huge industry. Like,
Yeah.
it's part of history.
Yeah, can you imagine? I read this article also, and I'll leave you with this too. When they first came to this country, and they came to New Jersey, they said that the Barnegat Bay. Now there was multiple inlets, that are not here now, and Barnegat Bay was loaded with oysters. It was one of the most fertile oyster beds, and it used to supply New York. There was so many whales, so many bluefish. They used to say that up in off of Maine, the lobsters weren't even considered. Nobody even wanted them. But the cod, they said the cod was so thick, and that the cod ran that industry. If you go back and look at the founding fathers in Plymouth and all of that up there, New England, their main industry was fishing. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about that, they created different men and women, because if you were farmers, you're related to the land. These guys can make their money out in the sea, and they made big money. And so, the politics changed. So it's the whole fishing thing. We don't even look at it in that regard, but it was huge. Now those fish are gone. Swordfish industry was big. That's just about gone. You want to read a good book about that? It's called The Perfect Storm, and it talks about the swordfish fishery. And now, what happens with the crabs? The
Deadliest catch?
I heard they're gone. Nobody know where they went. Did they come back?
The king crabs?
They were gone.
I heard about this. I didn't know that it's not. I don't know the update.
Gone. They said they couldn't find them. I think they closed down they closed it down. Now nobody's talking about that. I don't know what the problem is. We should look into that next time.
Look into it, yeah.
But I hear that if you want to look real quick, I heard that the whole season was closed because they couldn't find any clams. So all of this stuff is important. There's a thought, in my opinion, is if you beat up the ecosystem too much, it could collapse. What supports what? But anyway. What do you want? A pen? No. Why? What do you need to do? You need to write something?
Just
had a couple thoughts.
another thing. The
Should be over there, maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
The no reaction. I have a pen in my bag. The no reaction from like any federal government entity is alarming because the humpback whales, which are dying off the NJ coast, are protected under the Endangered Species Act and the Marine Mammal Protection Act.
Doesn't matter, Sean. We can be dead in 10 years, so we can't.
Be dead in 10 years.
Don't you understand? You got, it's all a matter of, we're going to be dead. So what do we got to do?
So we're going to be dead in 10 years.
That's
Do
according.
you want to test your knowledge on humpback whales?
Yeah, let's talk.
You ready for your quiz?
Let's talk.
Okay, Sean gave me a pen. This is perfect.
Right, so
Perfect timing on the pen. So I'm going to jot down a couple notes real quick.
Well, Sean, what I want you to do me a favor, in just a little research, is that let's find out what their migration is, and why there's a pod here. And you're right. I don't remember historically ever hearing of whales. I mean, once in a blue moon you'd hear a whale wash up, and usually it's in this fall, and it's usually sick. But how many washed up now? You're saying 10?
8 today.
That's today.
In less than 6 months.
8 as of today.
Oh, and is that just New Jersey? What about Long Island? Because
that's actually the 8th whale was found in Long Island.
Okay. All right. Well, the other thing too is,
but 7 of the whales are in South Jersey where the construction's happening, and the 8th whale is a little farther.
Hey, listen, it could be them laying wire. It could be them, the traffic they're not used of. I mean, you're talking probably a lot of traffic. But you're right. There might be sonar work. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, if you're laying those cables, right, and a whale comes by a pot of wire and they hit those cables.
No, there's no sign. It's sonar. There's no signs of abrasion or bumps on them.
So they think it's the sonar that's doing it.
There has yet to be a necropsy, which is an animal autopsy, done yet.
Well, if it is the sonar, I mean, I would think it's something easy they could fix then. Don't use the sonar. Use something alternative. But I still think that you're going to have problems. This is not the end of it. You're going to have birds hitting that. You're going to have them falling down. I guarantee if you follow it,
the amount birds too. Because if it bothers humans who can't sleep, who live near wind turbines,
well, they're not going to live this 50 miles out.
No, but like those animals that are now interacting with this new sound, like how is that affecting the way they hunt, sleep, feed?
Listen. If you ask me, turbines on land, they could put them in the marshes down here. I mean, there's plenty of marshes. You could put them, if you go down Route 9, the Parkway, between the Parkway and like Ventnor and all of those little towns, you got, 10 miles of marshland. Put them in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why they don't do that. I mean, they're an eyesore. All right, well, if we're going to be dead in 10 years, I'd rather have an eyesore. But to put them 50 miles out in the ocean makes no friggin' sense to me whatsoever. That's 50 miles of cables. That's, you got to send boats out there. The salt waters. How are you going to?
Yeah, going to eat them up.
You got to put them on the ground. You got to fasten them. Oh my God, it's just stupid. And it ain't going to make that much electricity. I mean, the wind really has to blow, and that's probably why they put them so far out there. They think that the wind's going to be blowing pretty hard out there all the time.
The way the East Coast is shaped, New Jersey is the reason it's the first here is because it just like gets funneled by the landmass.
Yeah.
Well, a little crutch.
Yeah. But I know there's a critical airspeed that has to happen, and but I put my money in solar and nuclear, but that's just me. Anyway, so we have a quiz.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, let's do the quiz. Let's do the quiz.
You let me know.
Go ahead.
Okay. We'll start off easy.
So this is quiz that says
What is the average lifespan of a blue whale? Or sorry, blue whale, humpback whale.
I'd say about 60 years.
Okay.
I'd say 60.
50 to 80 years. It's kind of inconclusive because it's hard to figure out the age of an animal that doesn't have teeth, because that's a lot of how that works.
Can't cut them in half and count the rings.
You
like a
can't
tree.
cut them in half and count the rings, exactly. How
There you
many?
go. Well, so I was pretty good
Yeah,
then.
that counts.
That was
I
right
think
on.
I think that's mine.
Oh,
I
you
think
got it right
I'll
on.
take that. I'm going to take that. Go ahead.
How many humpback whales are estimated to be alive in the wild today?
Oh, that's a tough one. It would just be a guess. I'd say if I had to wild guess, I would say 20,000, 22,000, 22,000.
Sean?
Sean,
30,000.
30 to 60,000 are left in the wild. I
Sean
give Sean
got that.
points on that one. You're outside of the range.
Sean got that one. Damn,
this-
Sean.
This is estimated to be about a third.
And how many
of
were
the
there? How many?
Historical
I wonder how many-
population. So whatever, 30,000 times 3. So 90 to
100,000 whales.
180,000. About. Okay.
Oh, not too bad.
How large do humpback whales grow?
I know this one, so I'm not going
We'll go feet and weight, okay?
I don't know weight.
Or you can go meters if you'd like.
Well, they're pretty big. I thought they were like between 60 and 80 feet.
60 and 80 feet for length.
60 feet.
60 feet. Key already knew that, I'm sure. Did you already know?
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know the weight, so I want to guess on that.
What's your guess on the weight?
2 tons. Is that less? Is that,
More than that.
yeah, more than that.
I would say
You are way off, my friend.
It sounded as soon as I said it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. So let me see now. More than 2 tons. I'd have to say between 15. I would say between like 15 to 20 tons. No,
40 tons.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're
That's a
about
lot of
half the
blubber.
size
That's
of a blue
oil.
whale.
Yeah.
By the way,
okay.
shout out to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That's where I'm getting a lot of this information.
Wow.
Okay. How long can their flippers grow?
I would say. Let's see if they're 80 feet. I'd say 20 up to 20 feet, 15
Yeah.
to 20
I was
feet.
going to say 15.
16 feet.
Wow.
All
Ding,
right.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, we're clearly close.
Okay. True or false? Only male humpback whales sing.
Well, that's a good question. I would say false.
That's so weird. I'm going to say true because like I just don't believe that at all.
It's true.
That's
They're the only ones. The
Only
females
males
don't.
sing, so they
Really?
think it's associated with mating. But again, we don't really know. We can't interpret what they're saying.
But is it true though that the male humpback are the only ones that have a penis?
I'd say false. According to the current
Transgender.
gender political environment.
I actually wrote in my notes, Cashmore, the dead whale sizes that died in New Jersey ranged from 19 to 33 feet of all ages and gender, and hoped that like I would read that and you would make a similar joke.
Well, you know it was
So
funny.
we got it out of him.
We
back.
got
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
I know. I'm reading all this stuff on Twitter, and I know people are like losing their minds about Trump. They still got Trump derangement syndrome, and that guy Rod, what's his name? He used to play All in the Family. They used to call him Meathead.
All in
Rob
the Family?
Reiner. Rob
Rob
Reiner.
Reiner.
Right. And he's like obsessed with him. But it's funny. I was listening to they had a clip of Trump, and he was basically yelling at teachers, and he says, I don't want any pink-haired commie teaching our. I was like, I thought that was so funny. Yeah, I'm like, people are like crazy. Now the whales, I didn't know that about them. I thought the females would sing, but
I would assume
but
so.
they don't sing, but they communicate though. All
Yeah,
male
they
and
speak, but
female.
so the songs, they can be hours long. And what else?
Is that to attract the female?
That's what they're assuming because only the males do it. But what's interesting is
I've
whales
heard-
from the same community sing the same song. Like
Right.
so southern, the same region, not even the same community. Because like we said, they exist in like maximum these small transient pods. Most of them are loners.
Yeah.
Which is actually interesting because when they're in these transient pods, they have a unique way of hunting where they'll surround a school of fish or krill and they'll blow bubbles in a spiral up to the surface to
Right.
kind of funnel them
Right.
into a spot. But yeah, another cool
so
thing
smart.
about these songs is that they change over time. So they'll stay consistent,
Right.
but it's almost like an ever-changing, like, okay, so next year this little piece will be different, and then the next year this little piece would be different. So year after year, like 10 years from now, you know,
Yeah.
the Northern Atlantic humpbacks will be singing a different song than they were today, but it's all kind of like how Old English evolved into what it is today. It's all like a direct pedigree, as you would say.
So let me ask you this about the sound. Is it all sound singing transmitted through the water, or is it any of it through the air?
It's all through the water.
So if you're in a ship, like you could probably hear it if you have a
through
hull.
the hull, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's what
like
I hear.
I mentioned it earlier. They can communicate at distances up to 20 miles. Are you ready for like the really hard question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Whale and dolphin brains contained specialized brain cells associated with advanced abilities such as recognizing, remembering, reasoning, communicating, perceiving, adapting to change, problem solving, and understanding. What are these cells called?
I would say that's the cerebrum. That's the
Cerebrum?
yeah.
Pineal.
Pineal.
Spindle neurons.
Okay. Well, I'm not a neurosurgeon.
Yeah,
so.
Not only that, but part of the part of their brain which processes emotions, which is, do you know what that is? Starts with an L.
Limbic.
Yes. The limbic system appears to be more complex than our own. A neuro expert named Lori Marino explains that a dolphin alone is not really a dolphin. Being a dolphin means being embedded in a complex social network, even more so than humans. And that also sort of applies to whales. What's funny is when you look into like whale intelligence, it's all about dolphins. Like everybody's only interested in how smart dolphins are.
Yeah.
But I mean, their brains are massive. And like that said, their limbic system, they're such social creatures. It's almost like and we're so social, and they're, according to this part of their brain, even more social than we are.
Whales have 5 times more hearing cells than humans do. So they have 5 times more percent of their brain is dedicated to hearing.
Yeah, like it kind of makes you think about like.
So
we
dogs.
define intelligence by human terms, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No,
what's a smart person able to do? They're able to collect a lot of resources. They're able to have good, healthy, productive relationships. They're socially intelligent. These whales, like they're so apparently socially intelligent. Like maybe that's what their whole culture is based around. You know, is some sort of strict social complexities that we just really can't even begin to understand. and they're so focused on that you know, their whole language is built around it. The way they move is built around it.
Yeah, I'm very sure. Listen, they're higher elevated individuals, but I don't think they're I mean, they don't have whether or not they have consciousness. That gets into the whole thing.
And that's whales as like a broader kind of thing, because like found out humpback whales are kind of like separate from that. They're very lonely creatures.
My opinion is whales are definitely smarter than democratic socialists. So,
there you go.
They're
smarter than Bernie. I kind of like him.
But the thing about when you talk about animals and our senses, you know, if you look at human beings, our senses of hearing and sight and smell compared to other are very weak.
Yeah.
But we have unbelievable other talents. You know, I mean, a dog.
We can't even see ultraviolet.
A dog, right? A dog could hear and see so much better than us. Whales, you know, could hear better. You know, a hawk, a bald eagle, you know, could see. You know,
they kind of see in like the fisheye, don't they?
Yeah, but they got unbelievable telescopic. I mean, they can see so far away. But
pretty impressive when you
right.
Our evolution put us in brain first, like not body. Like we dedicated calories to that.
We have sense of in our world around us. You know, I don't think no matter how much you teach your dog, he's not going to learn how to drive a car. or he's not going to understand. Next week is there's a birthday party. But he could smell a lot better than we can. He could see a lot better than we can.
Dogs evolved to have eyebrows because of interacting with people. Like that's one of the main differences between a wolf and a dog.
They have eyebrows.
So they can
express themselves.
They can communicate visually with people.
I never knew that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of different ways to communicate too.
Yeah. They one of the theories about how dogs came to be is they were some sort of like dolphin animal first that slowly started like making its way on land. And when you think about the social structures of like a wolf pack or a pack of coyotes, that kind of social intelligence is very similar to dolphins and whales and other.
And as we talked in the orca episode, orcas eat liver first, and the alpha orca eats the liver first, and the alpha wolf eats the liver.
Yeah, it's just like the dogs.
Yeah, when you start looking at other creatures in the world, it gets you to start thinking and about what the whole purpose is, and that's another whole show. But it does get I think that
Lifeguards Off Duty gets super existential.
But
next week
we're just sitting on the lifeguard stand, man.
Yeah,
That's what we talk about.
I think it's always nice to help life, to help things. The problem is though, we still it's hard not to live without killing things. And I don't mean killing other people, but you kill animals to survive, to have meat, and that's just unfortunate how we are. But there's a lot of books written about it. But I think that with this whole concept about and the topic about whales and why they're dying, it's dying because good chance of human beings intervention.
Mm-hmm.
And how many animals went extinct or died because of human intervention, and how many people died because of human intervention? More people die from genocide than straight out bombs and murders, and that's human beings killing human beings for some existential bullshit. You're right now people are being prosecuted for whatever. So I think that hopefully this will shut it down, because I think this windmills is bullshit, and I think that hopefully the politics will change. But we need to get serious about.
I also think our press release will end the wind turbines being built on the East Coast.
Well, for sure. I'm making an angry Instagram caption about this.
But I think that we should talk about. We should have a show, really, if we want to talk about environment, and hit Bill Gates and go through the nuclear energy that's out there.
We could do that.
Because I'm telling you, your generation, is starting to push for it more and more. Because what's going to happen is, the reality is, and I got buddies in the industry, you're not going to be able to make enough energy where you could have a decent life with just solar and windmills. It ain't going to happen. You need to have. I mean, you can't. You're going to have the life. You'll be
at a
eating,
certain point in human.
You'll be eating whales again. You'll be eating whales.
Be running everything off the power of the sun.
Yeah, which
Whether
is fusion.
Solar as we know. No. Like
the power of the sun.
Harnessing the power of the sun.
No. If you, but listen to what you just said. That's the
1,000 years from now.
No, they're working on fusion right now. You have fission.
That's not what I'm talking. I know what fusion is.
But that's the power. That's the power of the sun. That's what the sun is.
What I'm saying is using the sun that's already there.
Yeah, but that's inefficient.
In a different sense than just like these solar panels. There's got to be a more efficient way that we're going to
we can make our own sun. We could make our own sun. We could make a version in a machine that produces.
They just did it. Right?
Yeah, for like a second or two. We'll get there. But we have you have nuclear power, which is pretty damn close. That I don't care what you say. If we lived 1,000 years from now, what the energy is going to be is fusion of fission. Whatever where you don't split the atoms, you put them together. That's what the energy of the sun is. So you make a good point. Eventually, we'll be able to control. If we want to if human beings are going to continue on, we have to control our environment, our weather, the planets, and harness the sun. And I mean harness the sun big time. So you're right, but we got a long way to go if we don't kill ourselves. But anyway, I think this turbine stuff is just power grab on some people's money. I know, I hate it. All right. Anyway, so listen, it was good. It was a good show. I like the format, and
we got to get someone in here to sign this can soon.
We do.
Yeah. So, all right, well, very good. Anything else we want to talk about? We're pretty good.
That's
I think that was a good show. So I appreciate you guys coming up with this stuff, and we'll keep an eye on it. If any new things come up, they're going to do a what they call a narcolepsy
Necropsy.
and they'll see what's going on.
So dark.
Yeah,
It's just an autopsy, but we just separate it from people.
All right. Well, the governor of New York came out, and she said there's today. She said there's absolutely no proof at this point that the whales are dying because of the
Yeah, there is, but that's the
all
truth.
circumstantial.
There is no proof.
Right, I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that's fine.
But that's,
we have to make sure.
The bush. It's
Well,
so
you can't-
obvious. It's just so obvious.
But listen,
The proof's already there that sonar affects them from this military study.
but that doesn't
Sean
mean.
so kindly cited earlier.
I understand that. Don't. Sometimes you think it looks like that.
I'm
But
hanging my hat on it's the
I'm
sonar.
I'm holding
I'm
back.
saying
I'm
right
holding
now, and I
back.
will not change my view.
I'm holding back. So I'd like to know why they're still here. I didn't think they would be still here.
They're everywhere. They're throughout the ocean.
What,
yeah,
the
but
whales?
I thought they migrate. But
There's
it must be some pods that are
Yeah, there's
hanging
big
around.
breeding pods. It's the big
What-
migrations.
and just before we finish, why'd they come up with 50 miles? Do you have any idea? What was the golden number?
Maybe that's where the
I
goals-
think it's where you need to just visually from what I saw. It's where you need to focus to see them while standing on the coast.
Why would you want to even say
No,
anything?
that's the thing. Like it's as far as it could be where you don't notice it, but like if you just stand there and like squint your eyes and look, you could see the little white trees.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it's far enough where it's not a distraction,
Yeah.
but it's close enough where it's
Well,
not
well,
impossible.
Well, I
they
tell
put
you-
them like right off the sandbar.
Yeah.
and-
I tell you, I don't know how far out. I'm trying to think. When I used to come back, I used to go out to the Fingers, which is 30 miles out. And when I'm coming back, the first thing I see, what I can see visually, is not the Barnegat Lighthouse, but actually the nuclear power plant. It's taller, but it's further back in the bay. It's probably back in the bay 5 miles, but I can see that first. And I think I could see it. I want to say maybe 15 miles out. So 50 miles out, even if that thing is, unless they're, I guess 100 feet, I don't know. I mean, that's out there, man. 50 miles is out
Shit,
there.
You grab your binos in the north end.
If you go out
see
there,
those.
if you want to go out there, you're going to do about 20 knots, which is, maybe you do 20 miles an hour. You're talking, good 2.5, 3 hour ride out there.
It does seem, the more we talk about it, it seems more and more of a hassle to just have this.
Well, what if you got to go? I mean, unless what I would think they're going to do is they're going to have a platform out there with guys and gals living on it,
You're ready to go.
and maintenance, because those things need maintenance all the time. And then what happens when there's a storm? And then, of course, if you have a hurricane like Irma or Sandy or whatever,
I mean, they got the oil rigs out there.
and oil rigs take a beating too. But oil rigs are making the money that they're making, it's worth it.
Obviously,
they're pumping billions and
obviously
billions of
there's
dollars
been
worth of.
some sort of very profitable business model
No.
put forward
No.
to whatever
No.
planning committee
I
is
don't-
behind these.
No,
Why else would they build them?
you know what it is? It's called the government. It's being subsidized. I don't. It's a political thing, in my
It's gonna
opinion.
make money.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not going to make money.
The
No.
government doesn't subsidize shit that's not going to make them money in the long run.
Are you kidding me? How much you listen? Wars don't make us any money. You think the Vietnam War or Afghanistan?
World War
No.
What? World
It
War II
lost
pulled
us.
us out of the Depression.
Yeah, that's different.
That
Listen.
create. What do you? You ever hear the
No, you made the
military-industrial
statement. You
complex?
made the statement that the government wouldn't do anything if they didn't make money. No, there's people
okay.
making money.
Okay,
No-
they wouldn't do anything unless they thought they were making money. Is
No,
that a
the
better
guy who
amendment to
own-
my
the-
statement?
The guy who owns who's the company who gets the contracts, they're making money. The guys who who are maintenance, the company, they're making money.
Yeah.
But as far as will the thing as a entity make money, there's a lot of things that the government runs.
Yeah, and
that
then
makes.
the
I give you great.
the
I give you great.
politicians that allowed the policy for it, they get paid off by the companies that they.
I'll give you a good one right now. Amtrak doesn't make money. They have to continually subsidize it. It's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong.
I say bring back the trains.
But my point is that there's a lot of things that are not making money. They're being subsidized, and this is one of them. And again, it's for the betterment of everybody. That's the idea. But don't
Good
think
point.
it's
schools don't make money.
yeah.
That's
Well,
government subsidized.
right. But they theoretically you have educated people. Anyway, we could go on and on and
I'm
on.
just agreeing with you.
No, you're not. All right, Sean, you want to say anything?
No,
I guess let's
thanks
get
for listening, everybody.
When are we going to be back, guys?
Next week,
And what do we have anything that we want to on plan for next week?
we will get on it.
We're going to get
Yeah.
on it. We'll so listen, we're on. Please, listen to us, but get on Spotify. We're on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So go and sign up with those things, because if you can't watch us here live, you could listen to us. So go on Spotify right now, or
Give us
when
a
you hear this,
subscribe.
and go and just subscribe to us. Subscribe on YouTube. We're on. Go to Rumble. Rumble is an up and coming platform. I'm on Twitter. We're on Twitter. I love Twitter. You could watch us there and watch the people comment. We have a lot of people watching us there. And in your Instagram, how you doing on your Instagram?
Great.
Crushing it.
Yeah. So that's, what is it? LG.
We post a lot of dope, cool stuff.
Yeah, I like your
Check
stuff.
it out.
I
And
like
we want
your
you
stuff.
to check it out. It's called
Right.
@lg.association.
Right. And we're also gonna we're working on T-shirts. So hopefully, or shirts. Some really, really good
Fans
stuff.
have been expecting that for like a year now.
I
since
know.
the first
Well,
time you
listen,
said
we're
that.
we're all working. This is our part-time job.
We got it.
This
Listen,
is a job.
Moving forward.
Listen, we may take this, to the next level and be part of our full-time job. All right. Anything else, guys? That's it.
Like and subscribe.
All
Like
right.
and subscribe.
All right. So listen, stay out and stay alive.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. Thank you very much, everybody.